Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. Today, we're going to go over a topic that you guys asked about regarding how to become more attractive to a female. And I thought that was interesting. A lot of you guys wanted more research on it. I make videos like this in general, but a lot of you guys are new, and I feel like this can help somebody, okay? We're going to go ahead and put the research in the description box as usual. I know it's not accessible to everyone, but my goal is that even if it's not accessible to you, I will still explain what is in the research as much as I can so that you have some of that knowledge. So it's not entirely completely limited to you, okay? Limited to me, sorry. The very first one is actually something that a lot of you might know, but I think it's important because it's also very mentally healthy. Being more attractive to anybody, genuinely, is if you have a purpose and a passion. A lot of times when you focus on your own interests and ambition, the reason why this can be attractive from a psychological perspective is you can actually add to another person's understanding and knowledge. Often, relationships from other folks are formed because we want to learn and add to our own repertoire, whatever we have. And so if you have your own passion and purpose, often another individual, a female, she will want to learn from your passion and purpose. Likewise, I'm sure you want her to have some passion and purpose to some extent as well. While it might not be something that you're necessarily interested in, you might learn something subconsciously from that. And so you naturally will give that sense of attraction. And it shows that you're invested in something bigger than yourself, I guess is the best way to put it. And so often this also can correspond to being very open-minded and flexible. That's where some of this comes from, which can create a sense of not protectiveness, but there is some sort of dominance in if you have a family function and you have some purpose and passion, you're able to be flexible. You're also able to be giving to some extent about your passion. You're very open about how you feel. And so this can be sometimes very attractive to individuals who are probably seeking a healthy and long-term relationship. So that's where it comes from, okay? The next one is pretty obvious, but I don't think I've ever mentioned this on my channel because I feel like it's so obvious. But both of the research I'm looking at for this one, 2009 and 2016, but it's grooming. But I know like most of you guys do this, so that's like silly, but still, right? Grooming plays a very significant role in how attractive all of us are, right? Men who are well groomed are not only, I guess, rated or perceived in this research as more attractive, but they also tend to have better social, academic, and economic outcomes. In a romantic context, this part is actually interesting. Grooming can actually signal attention to detail, social intelligence, and self-respect. That's the perspective of some of the females that are rating some of these men in this research, because they actually feel this one, the particular like research I'm talking about, this part is 2016, but they actually perceive it as someone who respects themselves, but social intelligence, you respect other people. That's why you're grooming in like a certain setting. And those things can be very appealing. So not just the grooming in general, but also the fact that you have this multi-perspective, so many variables to why you do what you do, that can be very attractive. And that's one thing, okay? The next one is listening skills. I know a lot of you guys know this, but the research was really interesting. Both of these are kind of newer, which is kind of, I don't always use new research, but these ones were good. 2024 and then 2023, basically listening skills. Okay. Being a good listener is a form of social and emotional intelligence that helps create emotional closeness and trust in conversations, as well as long-term relationships and mating contexts, both psychological and biological, okay? Women are more drawn to people who actively listen and empathize, right? It shows that you value what they're saying and what you're going to say next and aren't just waiting to talk, right? You're reflecting on what they say and you're kind of curating that to your own agenda and perspective, and you're being more flexible, just like we had talked about. Some part of the long-term contexts for ladies in general is they tend to search for somebody who is worth the investment. From a biological perspective, pregnancy is a very long drawn perspective, right? For humans, it's about 9 months. And so she's investing a lot of time. And so she's trying to be more particular about who she's going to evaluate to be her, future child's father. That's where some of this comes from. And so her feeling like you're listening means that you're more flexible, which means you're more willing to protect her and the kid, basically. That's where it comes from. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense when you think about it from our day-to-day, but that's actually where it comes from, okay? A lot of these types of listening skills can actually be linked to better relationship satisfaction and more meaningful connections, which creates stronger marriages, actually. So it's a really good trait in general. I think that makes a lot of sense. For the marriage perspective, that research was done in 1999. This particular research is one of my favorite, research, probably one of the best pieces of research, in my personal opinion, in the field of psychology ever. So if anyone wants to look at it, you can. I love that research. Just not even just responsive listening, but just how people behave from their long-term marriages and how it kind of progresses. I kind of went off into a tangent. But anyways, the next trait that you can do to become more attractive to ladies is actually social confidence. Confidence in general, but particularly in social situations, okay? Research was done in 2020, and then another one that had similar findings, 2015, okay? Confidence in a social setting can affect how other people perceive you. And these perceptions are very interesting, so we're going to talk about them. Tends to be those who show more confidence in a social setting. And we're going to talk about what that confidence even looks like. But first, we're going to talk about the variables. You appear more capable, okay? You appear more composed, and you also appear more assertive. Now, what these types of characteristics of confidence means that you're speaking in an even tone. You're turned outward, not inward, right? More shoulders back, talking, looking at people in the eyes, speaking in a more level tone. Things of that sort, okay? We're seeing that, okay? And this can be perceived as confidence and can increase romantic desirability. Some interventions in this research showed that increasing confidence can literally improve how other people see you in a dating context very, very quickly, okay? So in the study, oh gosh, this sounds so silly, but it really is reality. In the study, basically, the men at first who maybe didn't show as much confidence, they were, talking or chatting with particular females, possible partners, okay? And they were, I guess, kind of explored about how they were perceived. And then they kind of were given a tutorial or instructions on how to boost some of that social confidence. And then again, they did a very similar exercise to which suddenly, it's so interesting, they were now perceived as more confident, higher status, and more romantically desirable, okay? So I guess confidence does a lot for you. So it's very helpful, I guess, right? And so that is basically what I wanted to kind of wrap up for you guys. Now, I'm not basically saying you have to change yourself to be attractive. I just made this video because somebody wanted it, and some people want to learn these things. I think it's important to be the best version of yourself, but I will say a lot of these things can actually help your mental health as well. I'm a therapist, so I look at it from this perspective. Being confident in a social setting can really combat some of the negativity you might feel. I notice a lot of times with depression and anxiety, some of the triggers often happen in social settings. I'm not sure if you guys notice that, but I do. And so by doing some of these things, you might just leverage yourself to a better situation for yourself. Even if it has nothing to do with the opposite gender, I just want that for you. I do. I really genuinely want everybody to be as happy as possible. That's why I chose the job that I do. It's something I truly enjoy. So I hope it came across good, okay? I hope this video was helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe. I will see you in the next one.